Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video, I'm going to show you different methods of multiplying your Dieffenbachia. It's a very simple process. Let's start with the first one. Now over here, I have an offset that is coming out of a mother plant. The mother plant is also there in this spot. Now guys, if you want, you can take out the entire plant and separate the pulp through the roots by doing a root division. But with that, you will only get one plant. But if you want to get multiple amount of offsets and plants, then you will have to do this process. All you have to do is just go ahead and do the stem cutting like this. So there you go. Now you have one Dieffenbachia plant for free. Now guys, there is a very important thing that I want to tell you. Whenever you are doing a cutting of Dieffenbachia, you have to use gloves because remember, as I said, it is a toxic plant. The sap in the plant or the plant milk is toxic to delicate skin. So you have to ensure that you use gloves. Now over here, we already have one separate plant, one individual plant, which will be treated like a regular plant. So this is how the cut tends to look like. Always ensure that the cut is very green in color, very juicy in color. This indicates that the stem is healthy. Now, if you want, you can put some cinnamon powder or you can put some fungicide and let it dry for 1 day before you put it back into the soil. Do not put it directly into the soil and water it, otherwise it might get rotted. So this is how we have got our first plant from the propagation. Now guys, the reason why I told you to do this method is because you can see this, there is a remaining part of the stem in the soil. Now this is where there are going to be more Dieffenbachia offshoots that are going to come. If you would have done a root division, you wouldn't have got this option. So always go with this option. This will work out really well and you will get enough offsets later on once it starts to grow. Now, the next method is again the same method as I showed you. All you have to do is just go ahead and do a cutting. Now, this one, as you can see, this mother plant is almost coming out of the pot. This is how they usually tend to grow. Their trunk, as I said, it tends to get mature and it becomes even more thick. And that's how it starts to grow. So I think this is going to be the best specimen to do a propagation. Now, whenever you feel that your Dieffenbachia is out of shape, just go ahead and do a cut like this. Now, it's the same process for this as well. If you want, you can put some cinnamon powder or some fungicide on the cut area. Even if you do not put it, it's absolutely fine. Let it be out for a day and it will heal and then you can put it into the soil. Now, this was the second method. The third method is the very simple method. Now, guys, in philodendrons, remember, we try to find a node in order to do a cutting. This is the best part about Dieffenbachias. You do not need to find any node. You can cut any part of the stem and it will start to root. So over here, I will go ahead and cut a nice piece. Always ensure that you have at least 1 to 2 inches of a stem piece. That is going to work out really well. Even the smaller ones will work out, but if the stem piece is at least 1 inch, it is going to work out really well. So now the same thing again for the stem as well. Ensure that you dry it out and keep it in a dry place so that the cuts can heal. Just check whether the cuts are clean. It has to be juicy. It has to be green in color. This indicates that the stem is very healthy. Now, all you have to do is once this is completely dry, you can go ahead and put it into the soil. Now, what I usually tend to do is I go ahead and mark arrow downwards indicating that this is where it has to go into the soil. We also do this marking on sansevierias as well to easily understand which part comes into the soil and which is the above portion. I'm not very sure if the above portion will root, but it's always better to be on the safer side. Mark where you want to put it into the soil, and once it's dry, it will be easy to identify which part goes into the soil. Now, in the same way, you can keep cutting every part of the stem, and it will produce pups once you put it into the soil. So as you can see, guys, it's very simple to propagate your Dieffenbachias. You can even do it with a single leaf as well. Remember, I had made a video on it. I'll put that link as well in the description below. You can check it out. So this is all the process of multiplying your Dieffenbachias. As you can see, it's pretty simple. In this way, you can multiply so many. Now what I'll do is, just for an example, do not put it into the soil right away. But if I have to give you an example, let's say that this cutting was already dried up and now you wanted to put it into the soil. All you have to do is just make a hole into the soil and then just push the stem into the soil and you are good to go. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. In this way, you can multiply Dieffenbachias very easily, and they tend to multiply very fast. They have a little faster growth as compared to most of the foliage plants. So guys, I hope that this video on propagating and multiplying of your Dieffenbachia ideas was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.